People think being a travel filmmaker is glamorous, but it can be lonely. It pays poorly or not at all. You have no security or stability. You're always away from loved ones and forced to motivate yourself without a team or colleagues for support. And every time you put work out into the world, it's just another chance for complete strangers to tear you apart from behind the safety of their screens. Honestly, as I got up at 3:30 a.m., I was feeling kind of defeated. I was sick with bronchitis, preparing to do 10 flights in 8 days from Europe to South America to the US, and struggling emotionally after a month of daily hostile comments and emails from a video I'd made that generated death threats and personal abuse, attacking everything from my work to my body to my personality. But this group, All Hands Volunteers, that I'd heard about was too inspiring. I had to go. I felt compelled to share their story. I'm not being paid for this, and I know a lot of my followers might prefer some pretty escapism somewhere like France or Italy. But what this little group is doing all over the planet made me believe that humanity is fundamentally kind, that cruel or ignorant people exist, but that equally, strangers can feel like lifelong friends within a few hours and overwhelm you with their empathy and generosity. That maybe I can't please everyone with my work, but if even 50 people watch this video and feel as inspired as I was to support them, or even just feel their spirits lift knowing people like these volunteers exist, then this trip will be worth it.
So I just touched down in Quito, Ecuador. I still have one more flight to get, and then I think like a bus or something. I think someone's meeting me in a place called, I can't even remember what it's called, Manta, I don't know. I'm really sick. Maybe 20 hours I've been since I got up this morning.
Realizaremos el embarque por filas por la puerta número E6.
Running late for the next flight, running late. I realized I'm at the wrong gate. I'm at the totally wrong gate. Why does this always happen? Here I am, so tired, but everybody is so nice. Good night.
So when you sign up to be an All Hands volunteer, they cover your food and accommodation, but this could be a tent, a shared room in a hostel, or in Louisiana right now, they're all sleeping in one big room in a church.
So crazy. Here I am in Ecuador.
In April this year, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake hit Ecuador, leaving over 20,000 people without homes, 660 dead, and 2,500 injured. They're one of the most nimble non-profit organizations in the world, often being the first to arrive in a destination when there's a natural disaster, and one of the only ones who don't require you to pay to volunteer or have any prior experience. They spend an average of 5 months living in the affected community so that locals can be hired, cultural sensitivity can be understood, and so that rather than providing a band-aid solution, they're finding ways to protect communities in case they're hit again.
Super Typhoon Haiyan moving over the Philippines, bringing with it winds close to 200 miles per hour, churning at that speed for up to 48 hours straight.
And many more still unaccounted for tonight after the worst disaster Nepal has seen in nearly a century. The earthquake struck before noon local time in the capital city of Kathmandu. Brutal storms have claimed lives, leaving a path of destruction across the south and Midwest, a string of tornadoes, more than a dozen striking with deadly consequences.
I was lying in the bed and I remember this like sudden shake, and it came, you could hear it, like it felt like it was rolling over the hills. You could feel it coming. Really? And then it hit, and then everything started crazy, and I was up outside. I remember running outside my building and going, oh my. And the building I was in front, I've come out the wrong door because I was suddenly in front of another building that was swaying violently.
Rory, an All Hands volunteer and architecture graduate, happened to be on holiday in Ecuador studying the advantages of working with bamboo when the earthquake hit. He came up with the idea of building permanent homes out of bamboo because this material is durable, flexible, and, compared to concrete, much safer to protect families in an earthquake.
But then that night, everyone was really culturally afraid. Things got more and more desperate.
Yeah.
As a car that showed any sign of having water or anything like that was mobbed. You know, people were suddenly, everyone relies on some kind of infrastructure, a water source, and you notice that people are suddenly, their concept of what is a building, what is home, it starts changing, and they suddenly get more afraid of different things.
Yeah.
And that was, for me as an architect, that was the most significant thing. You have people slowly getting more and more afraid of their homes, of the materials that's in their homes.
Yeah.
You know, you start seeing people who have lost their entire family because of concrete or because of bricks or because of their house. And people often associate homes as a sense of security. You go home to be safe, and now suddenly everyone's outside. And what's interesting is everyone was made homeless, even if they had a home, out of fear. You know, so everyone just went outside in the street.
Last night was a bit crazy, with no water. So you've worked all day and you're covered in dirt and sweat and mosquito repellent, and there's no water to shower or to flush a toilet or to even wash your face. Just in case you thought these volunteers are here on some tropical holiday, I can tell you the conditions are kind of rustic. We get up at 5:30 a.m. You learn how to drill, saw, install an environmentally friendly toilet and sewerage system, and each team of 5 works on a different home.
You never know what you're capable of until you step outside of your comfort zones. I know it's a bit of a cliche thing to say, but it is true.
You learn so much here, so much.
When we break for lunch, it is prepared by the family who will be receiving the home. They're often living in a makeshift tent made out of tarpaulin or whatever remains of their original house. And so the reason you're working is so real, so present in your mind. You are learning about their culture and sharing soup with the children for whom you have literally just spent hours drilling a bedroom door. It's just this beautiful circle of kindness.
That's the best part for me, talking with them, knowing about their life, knowing about what they think the future is gonna come, about their country, about their culture.
¿Y todas las mujeres en Ecuador saben cocinar?
Sí,
sí,
sí saben cocinar.
Por supuesto.
Claro que sí.
How did you end up doing this?
I just finished my PhD, and this is something that I think that all of us we should do, giving at least 1 month of our lives to the rest of the people that need it much more than us.
I like to be in places where I think things are happening and there's a need that's imperative, and that's when I feel like I'm really living.
When we do the handover at the end of a house, I am the person that gives them that, has to sign that form and say this is your house. Yeah. Every time I'm fighting the tears. Really? And I think you know, on the final few, it's just going to be too much. I won't be able to fight, and I'm going to end up crying in front of like 60 volunteers. But you know, that's all right.
No, I can imagine. Like honestly, oh my gosh, I haven't been a part of this project at all. I've literally just arrived, and the other day. We were walking past one that's already finished and they're living in it. These little kids out the front, just on the balcony, like on the veranda, doing their homework. And this little boy is like drawing a picture of his house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is just like, you know, it's you're giving people a home and dignity, I think.
At All Hands, you meet so many interesting people, like so many really genuinely nice people, and you find them so easily at All Hands Volunteers, but when you go outside, it's really hard to find such people.
I totally agree with you.
Why do you think that is? It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I agree with you.
And it can be a little bit crippling, to be honest. Like, I mean, it can be hard, and that's why that's another thing that's so refreshing. I totally agree with you. Like,
and maybe it's also because everybody's like unified for like one purpose. Yeah. And nobody really talks about where you're from, what your religion is, about politics. Mm-hmm. It's more you're there to help the people, and
nobody cares about those things.
Yeah, nobody cares about it. Everybody's so different. Doesn't matter how old you are.
It's like getting back in touch with things that actually matter versus things that maybe I don't want to say like religion and things like that don't matter, because they do, but I just mean the intrinsic.
They create a lot of barriers, yeah. And I think, or even if it's not a barrier, I think generally in society we just have all of these groups and all these categories, so that there are some people you would never cross paths with, like you just wouldn't. I mean, and yet here you're just inevitably thrown in with people from totally different backgrounds and ages and nationalities and everything, and so it's kind of like, oh wow, when does this ever happen in other aspects of life? Like very rarely.
It's true.
If you're at all inspired by these people like I was, please like this video and click here to find out more about volunteering or donating. People say there is only bad news, greed, crime, corruption, but trust me, there are also so many good people out there trying to make the world a little more loving, proof of the kindness of strangers. Next episode, as I journey on to Louisiana.
It just creates this like feeling of, yes, I'm supposed to be here.
You can't, judge a book by its cover, because you never know what that person has done or been through.